Let me know you can hear me. I think we're live. Um, Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know who you are, where you're from. Thank you so much for joining me in today's live session. We're going to do some fun stuff today. As always, I get ready much in advance, and then on the last minute, I remember something I forgot to do, something I forgot to prepare, even if it's just me bringing a bottle of water so I can continue speaking. So my bad. I just had to get ready really in a hurry. Hopefully everything is okay, everything is in its place. I did want to give you a quick look at today's painting. I prepared a sketch and I updated the link to the sketch. If you want to find a picture, download it and have it as a reference. Let me do this thing here and show you my face. So I hope everything is okay with you. I'm going to look at the chat in just a moment. I do have to give you a fair notice. There's gonna be a delivery that's supposed to get here. I don't know when. They just texted me today saying, oh, we're gonna be here from 12 till 9, like 12 noon till 9 in the evening. So I have no idea when it's gonna be here. I may have to go for just like a minute and a half of dead air just to get it, pick it up. Hopefully it's not gonna be like as we start the wash here. Let me show you. Just as we get started, I hope that's not going to happen. We're going to be in trouble if it does, but hopefully it won't. Let's see who's in the house, and let me know if there's any problems, if you can hear me. What basically we're going to do is paint this beautiful scene from Santorini, as you know, as you've seen in the description, in the title. It's going to be just a pure classic watercolor session. We'll paint it together. I'm so happy that the connection is okay because it's been super rainy for the last 2 days or so. So I was afraid the Wi-Fi is going to be a little slow. Looks okay to me. And it's just going to be a classic watercolor kind of session, demo, painting together. I'm going to tell you about this in just one moment. Let's see who's in the house. So from the beginning, we have a bunch of people here. We have Inor1, Lisa from the UK waiting. Thank you so much to anyone who was in the room. We have Donna Bowman. Hello, Donna. How are you? Chris N. I'm so happy that you'll paint Santorini. Thank you. James Baker says, hi, Liron, and greeting from London. Greetings. Multiple greetings from London. Thank you, James. Miss D, so looking forward to this. Maria P. Hey, Liron, and all greetings from Greece. So we're painting Santorini. That's really, really cool. Mark Ohio, happy Thanksgiving to everyone celebrating the holiday today. Oh, by the way, yeah, I forgot. So happy Thanksgiving to anyone who celebrates. Hi, Liron, how are you doing? I'm doing fine. Had a bit of a stomach ache today. I don't know why, but now it's a little better. Usually when I'm just nervous, and I don't even, like, I can't even always tie it to being nervous. I just sometimes will have it, and then it goes after a while. But yeah, everything is good with me. I did the necessary tests, so I guess the only thing that's left is psychological. Angshura, okay, we read that one. Roseanne Lowy, happy Thanksgiving from New York. Chris Ann, greetings from Finland. John's Watercolors, hey my friend, looking forward to live today. Santorini is such a beautiful place. Indeed. Jan Lundgren. Hello everyone from Winnipeg, Canada. Rachel Eng, happy Thanksgiving. Margot looks a lot of perspective in today's painting. Not necessarily. This is actually quite from afar, so you don't need much perspective. But we will have a fun process, as you'll soon see. A very challenging one too. So we're going to have to do some major editing work. Okay, we're going to talk about that in just a moment. From Finland, hi all. I just want to be painting not alone. Yeah, so definitely feel free to paint whatever it is you want to paint and whatever it is you've been working on as you're listening to what's going on here. Sound and view is good. Thank you so much for letting me know. Hi from St. Charles, Missouri. Love your videos. Thank you so much, Maggie. Kito, good evening from Malaysia. How are you, my friend? Rachel Eng, fellow Malaysian. People find their fellow people from the same countries. That's cool. Ellison Conway, hello from the UK. Love Santorini. So photogenic. That is true. It's really photogenic. Good evening from India. Sheetal K. Yeah, so that's amazing. So many people are getting in. Thank you so much. We have Quebec in the house. We have Finland. We had India. We had another India. Greece. West France. California. Billy Armstrong. Ethiopia, Etsub Mekonnen, that's really cool. I think that's the first time I get a message from someone saying they're from Ethiopia. Julie Rogers, sends hearts. Marlene Norcom, morning from Canada. Sorry, not moving. Cecilion, hi from India. Jam Lee, happy Thanksgiving from Cincinnati, Ohio. And Claire, I can't pronounce that, sorry, from west of France. Thankful for you, Liron. Nancy G says, for your live demos from Akron, Ohio. Itamar Shani says, hi Liron behatzlacha, which means good luck. Arabic, I can't read, unfortunately, I'm sorry. Dave is here, gonna miss most of it today. I've got to take my mother-in-law's diabetic cat to the vet. Okay, I hope the cat feels well and nothing is too serious with it. Sarah Med, hello from Italy. Blanca Rodriguez, hi from Lima, Peru. Maria P says, hi, good to see a fellow Greek. Okay, so we have people from just about everywhere. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Here's what we're going to do. You got the reference photo in the description box below. It's really beautiful, and I do want to share with you some of my kind of ideas about it. So here's the thing. By the way, before we get to that, just one last thing. Drop a like now if you can. Let me show you my face. Like this video. It really helps it get to more people. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So here's what we're going to do today, and I'm going to remind you there may be a shipment coming and interrupting us. My apologies about that. I just didn't want to postpone it. I want to get it today. So here's the scene we have from Santorini. Beautiful scene. A couple of things. If you look at the reference photo, a lot of light and shadow plays. The white walls of all the buildings, they're just spectacular. It's the kind of really dream subject in a way. There are a couple of humps we need to go over and get over, which is the challenge of details. And this is something I will soon release my How to Simplify course. Almost done. Thank you for your patience. It is a good example of the need to simplify, because if you look at that thing, there is just so much going on. Now, if you look at my sketch, it is a pretty much simplified version of it. Now, I did go one step in addition to that, because the patterns of light and shadow here are so complex. I went over everything that's going to be in the shadow and did some cross hatching. Just went over it, added some lines, just so that I can tell when I'm painting what's what, because it is a pretty challenging scene in that regard, and that way I have something to follow. Now, a couple of more interesting things I see here, and we're going to talk about both the shapes and the edges, and also the colors. So shapes and edges, if you really look at it, we have two very interesting sections that are necessary for an interesting impression, and that is, one is all of this huge block of buildings, and it's all of that together, and that's full of different contrasts and light and shadow play and all sorts of interesting details. This dome especially is just beautiful. You can see it up there with this transition from kind of blue reflecting the sky onto the orange. But all of that, that's just one part of the painting. The other part that is almost as important, if not as important, is the background, the sky and the sea. Now, why is that? Because we're going to have this beautiful impression of a background that's sent to the back with softer edges, softer transitions, and then the contrast of having this very rich shape. Within this rich shape, I'm going to go quite impressionistic. Honestly, if you really want to get all the details in, looking super accurate, you could work at it shape by shape. I want to unify the whole thing as much as possible. So everything you see here with hatching is hopefully going to be unified. Now, this will help the viewer to better read the scene, because if I'm just going to fill in every small area separately, you're going to get something that's very fragmented. One of the most important things here is to create some connections. Now, how am I going to connect this? Just by connecting the shapes. Okay, so what are the shapes we're going to connect? Well, here we go. We have this dome that I forgot to shade, and this building slash windmill, and this shadowy side, and the shadow here. Everything that's connected is going to get connected. Once we do that, we're going to have a much easier time understanding what we're looking at, because we will have already established something. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if it makes sense. I'm looking at the comments just to make sure. If anything is extremely confusing, let me know. I'll try to address it. ZS says it's nice that you answer everybody. That's why I love you more. Thank you so much. I try. It is going to be hard because I do want to balance it out with actually painting and doing. Let's move the light a bit. And you can see the shadow of this, so my apologies. How can I prevent that? What if I go like that? Let's see, I just don't want that thing to obstruct our view. Okay, I think that's a little better. We'll have to work with what we've got. So here's how I'm going to approach this. I'm going to cut myself some slack. I'm going to try going fairly impressionistic in some areas. But before... Okay, there are two ways basically to approach this. So let's just, I'm going to explain it the way I see it. Then maybe you help me decide. Maybe I'll just go for it. Two ways. One is, and I really consider that, just pre-wetting everything that's not a highlight. It's going to be a bit of a headache, but it is possible. And then I can play around with what's there. Or I can go for one even wash top to bottom and probably separate this from the background. So I'll probably start with the background. I think I'll go with that. I don't know why my gut tells me to go with that. But you could connect everything in theory and just skip the highlights. You could do that. By the way, this should be dark too because the dome is a little darker. This wall too, by the way, if you can see. So let's do that. And because so many people ask me, is the paper, is it wet in wet or is it wet on dry? This time I will pre-wet. Okay, so let's see what we got. I'm just going to put some water here. Hopefully clean. I did clean up the bucket, which I never do. I cleaned up the palette, which I never do. I did a lot of things for you today. So here we go. Just pre-wetting the area. It's fine if there's a bit of a blue tint in the water. I actually don't mind that. And look at the huge brush I'm using. This will help me get everything filled in properly and quickly. Okay, it's a time-saving device in a way. Because of a larger brush's nature, can contain more water, more paint, and hopefully that'll be helpful. When you're painting large, you have to use larger brushes. This isn't that large, by the way, but I don't know, it's just making it easier. So, you can't really see, but here we go, the sheen. There is a lot of excess water, and that you can see, so I'm going to get rid of some of that. I wish I could just look at the chat while I'm doing this, but I have to focus, so my apologies. I'm not going to see anything right now. And my apologies again for the possible interruption. But here we go. We got pretty much everything in the background wet. Now I'm going to have to go over it again. This is a thirsty paper, and let's add a bit of an angle to help everything move. Okay, so here we go. Sorry about that. Move the camera. Let's do this. Actually, let's move it like that. Here we go. And it's probably even a better angle than before, I think. So, okay, just to help the paint move downwards, I'm going to go over it again to make sure everything is wet properly. Like so. And I think we're ready to go. So let me get started with some blue for the sky. I'm going to use this blue here that I forgot its name, but I can check in a moment and let you know. I know a lot of people want to know the names. Let me switch to a smaller angle like that, just a bit smaller. And I'm just going to go for it. So, a bit of blue. Now, because we pre-wet it, we have the advantage of being able to take our time a little more, look at what's going on paper, thinking to ourselves, is it dark enough? Is it too light? Is it too dark? Like so. Okay? This is really the advantage. I don't very often paint this way. Honestly, I don't know why. It's just quicker to paint rather than do it this way. But there are a lot of advantages. But the most important thing is, remember, all of the background has to be very blurry and blended. That's the number one thing here, to contrast with everything that goes on in the city itself. Okay, so here we go, and I'm gonna, after I finish this, I'm gonna mute you, and I'm gonna mute myself, sorry, not you, and dry it up with a hairdryer. Now, a bit of spray just to help the paint move a little downwards, or I can also play with the angle, and you see we get this beautiful smooth effect of these beautiful lines. And now let's put in the water. Now I do want to pick back up some of that wetness. I'm going to switch to a much smaller brush actually, and I'm going to use this to apply water. I'm going to use the same blue for now. It just feels right. And I'm just going to put the water in. Now it's going to move down. That is to be expected. What I want to do is go a little lower and slowly establish the higher line for the water. Now, look at this. We have a bunch of excess paint here. So I can just come back, dry the brush a bit, come back and lift anything I don't need, and even fix some of the edges while I'm at it. The big brush I used is a Leonard brush. Honestly, I had no idea this brand existed until I saw it in the store. It's very nice. It's very good quality. And it's great for these types of large washes. Now a bit of ocean seen through here. Now this is a good example of editing. You don't see much of it here, but I'm going to indicate it still and go lower to show it, just to show the continuity, okay? So now essentially we got a wash that's kind of for the background. It has everything you need and everything is blurry, and that's going to contrast again beautifully with the rest of the painting, okay? With all of the area of the buildings and all of that. That's going to be extremely challenging, okay? It's going to be the next wash. After this dries, it is going to be hard. Let's see. I want to strengthen the ocean line here, so I'm grabbing some thicker paint and I'm going over it like this. This is probably the last time, okay? I think that's good. Doesn't have to be perfectly even straight. It's fine if there's a bit of a wobbliness to it. Now, the main concern here, and it's something you really want to think about, is will it dry too light? Because right now it is fairly light already, and once it dries, you know, it can dry even lighter, which is very common. I think I'll need to darken some of these areas, and it's going to be contrasted nicely with some light buildings, so why not? And it's all still super wet, so you can work with it, you see? So as long as it's still wet, we can work with it. Look at how long it takes. Very often I see my students in a hurry. And look at how slowly I work here. I'm really taking my time to make sure everything is all right here and everything works the way I want. That's the one thing I did learn from quite a lot of artists, is to really take your time in a way whenever necessary. Now here I got a bit too much movement, but that's fine. I'm thinking if I want to try and correct it or not. So here's the trick. I'm going to dry my brush as much as I can, and I'll just kind of touch this area. And it's just going to soften this a bit and make it less prominent, okay? And now I think we can kind of just let it dry. Hope we got a dark enough value and not too dark of a value. Now that I look at it, it looks a little too dark, but that's fine. That's fine. So here I am. I'm going to mute you and dry this real fast, and then we'll continue. Now I do want to show you something. By the way, I put some music, like I never do this. I actually put some music in the background in my headphones. Let me know if you can hear it. That'll be strange. I don't think you can, but if you can, let me know. So here's the thing. What size was the brush? Natalie Kelly asks. So this is a 6. And it's a bit of a different size because it's a mop. I know their sizes are a little different. This is actually the equivalent of a size 16, I would say, okay? Just for comparison to this normal point brush, okay? So it's kind of the same, 16, not 16, 18, sorry. So this is 16, this one is 8, maybe 20, you know what? I know it looks much larger, but it actually isn't. So that's that. Let's see what else we have here. When you shift to the buildings, does it help to think about them as abstract shapes versus the background? Exactly. Exactly, Gemly, you hit it right on the head. That's exactly right, and that's exactly how I'm going to approach it. Now, I did want to show you something. Look at how wavy the paper is at the moment. Can you see this? I think you can. It all has to do with drying it more. So what I'm going to do is take another muting. I wanted to pause in the middle to show you. Okay, just take your time. I'm going to mute myself again. Happy that you can't hear music. I'm going to mute it again and use the hairdryer again. I just wanted to show you it. It's just a bit more patience. You will see. Okay, here we go. So now you want to think about something very important. It's pretty much dry. I say 90% dry. One important thing, and let me switch to the face and show it to you like this. Maybe you'll see it a little better. I don't know. Just showing you both ways. I think the other way is better. So in any case, here's the thing. What you want to... Why am I seeing myself delayed? That's strange. But in any case, now that we're working on the buildings, there is an important distinction to make. Okay, so there's a bunch of shapes here. Now, how do we tie them all together? That's a question for you. Think about it. How are we going to tie all of these shapes together? I'm going to take a sip of water, let you think. Okay, there are a couple of ways. First, basically, it's values and color. So what I want to do is not wing it. I'm not going to just get started and hope for the best. I can. I look at the shapes and I can just get going on them, but let's think for a moment. What do you see when you look at the reference photo? Okay, what do you see when you look at it? This section, for example, on the right, I know you can see what I'm pointing at, but let's just make it smaller again. This section on the right is a little warmer. Okay, so this has a bit of warmth, while this section is a little more, I guess, blue for the shadowy white walls. And that's how we're going to do it. So we're going to work gradually. It's just one way of doing it. It's how I decide at the moment to do it. We're going to start with a somewhat warm mix. And as we move downwards, we're going to cool it up. Now, it doesn't mean that this is all going to be perfectly yellow and this is all going to be perfectly blue. No. What I'm talking about is, I have a good analogy for you. Think about it this way. There is this concept, if I can get a piece of paper here. There is this concept of a large, how will I explain this? Like a primary shape or gesture. So maybe we have this cylindrical shape. And then any shape on that is a secondary. So if this is the arm, this is a muscle on top of the arm. Just as a weird example. My point is this. The primary shape takes priority over the secondary shape, but it still doesn't mean that the secondary shape does not exist. Okay, so let me explain this with, maybe it's not a good example. Let me explain it this way. The fact that I decided I'm going to go from warm to cool doesn't mean there's not going to be some cools in the middle here. Okay, it's just dominantly mostly warms here and then a little more cools there. Okay, that's what it's all about. So it's not linear, perfect. There are going to be some variations. So with that, let's get started. Let's see. This is the kind of wash, and by the way, I'm going to check the comments in a moment. This is the kind of wash that scares most people. Now, don't be too scared about it. As long as you go light enough, you won't have to worry too much. Everything is going to be fine. And also, you can always make some corrections. You can lift back. If, like, worst situation, you can try lifting. Like, don't worry about it. If it's not perfect, it's not perfect. That's fine. Okay. I know a lot of people struggle with this particular wash, so I'm letting you know. Me gusta el color que usaste para el cielo, más que el de la foto. Ah, thank you. So you say that you like the color I used better than the photo, I guess. I have some Spanish skills, so let me show you the color itself, because I have been asked. It's Prussian. It's Prussian blue. The color I'm using for the blue here is Prussian blue. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. Correcting smudges with paper is not right. Is the brush bitter? I'm not sure what that means. We have a bunch of people here. Thank you so much to anyone who joined now. Do you need more water to draw buildings? I may need more water once I get to this section, yes, because it's a bit more of a complex wash. Voita, I think that's how you pronounce it. I have school now still, but I'm going to watch the recording of this stream provided. Yes, I will keep it up, don't worry. Wayan Min Hunt. I'm glad you're giving your art to everyone, not like the others, like taking fees. I appreciate it. No, you got it. It's my pleasure. I'm really happy about it. ZS says, how many hours do you paint a day? Honestly, on average, not much necessarily. I would say 2 hours. Lately, it's been 2 hours because then I have another hour of drawing. The rest is just business, quote unquote, is making the content and working on a bunch of other things. It depends. Some days it's going to be more, obviously. That's kind of a rough average. I have periods where I'll paint much more than that. I'll spend every day more than that just on painting, 4 or 5 hours. But yeah. Something in Greek, I think. Hey, Liron, Aristea from Andros, Greece. Is this photo from Greek island? Yes, it's Santorini. Now I'm going to open the window. It's a bit hot here, as always. One moment. So it's literally cold outside and almost raining, but I'm still with the window open. I was with the AC on warmth, heat, a few moments ago, but just talking and painting gets it out of me. So, George Oreje, which paint do you use? This is Paul Rubens. This was Prussian blue. This is, by the way, just Prussian blue. I didn't use anything else, which is not very common for me. Usually I'll spice it up. Because it's in the background, I kept it fairly unified. What did you do before becoming an artist? I was in school and all of the usual routine of life, and then when I was 21, 2, I decided this is what I'm going to pursue. Until that age, you're doing, school and military service and things that aren't really in your control and are kind of mandatory here. So let's go over to the buildings wash. Now I have a picture, the reference photo in front of me on the wall, just to make it easier on myself. So if you see me go like this, it's because I'm looking at it. Here's the thing. I'm going to start with warm again. Now the way I like to do it is, if I'm starting with a warm color, I'm going to start with the warmest. So I'm just going to dip my brush into my yellow ochre here and just get a bunch of it here. It was contaminated, the well, but the more I use it, the cleaner it gets. That's how it works. So don't worry about that kind of a thing. Let me know if there's noise coming from the outside because I opened the window. Now here's the thing. I'm starting with my purest, cleanest yellow. That doesn't mean I'm going to paint with that. It means I'm going to slowly add some more colors to it. So here we have this beautiful red ochre, I believe. I'm going to add that to the mix, just to make it more interesting. Now to make it a little more organic, add a bit of blue. Now you don't have to use the well. You can just use this blue here. Bring it over, you see? And what I essentially did was mute the yellow. So it's not going to be a perfect yellow. Now, if we just look at what it looks like, this is what it looks like, okay? Now I feel like I do want a bit more red in there, a bit more warmth, something like this. And I think we can get started. Now this may be even too yellowy, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see. Now I don't want to go too dark at this stage. The fact that I'm still mixing means I'm still contemplating things, okay? Let's get going. I'm going to try it out. We'll hope for the best. So I'm going to start with a very strong yellow. Now remember, we can very easily charge back more paint into it to get more, to get it to be darker. We can lift to get it to be lighter. Now, when the shape is small, you don't have much to worry about. So take your time. Take your time with it. Make sure everything looks good. We have this pointy thing up top. Don't worry, don't hurry. Okay, I'm just working with this small shape. See, I'm still in the same shape. Take your time. Now, when I feel comfortable, I'm going to start expanding it like that. Okay? Expanding it downwards. Still one shape. I don't have to worry about too much. Now, while I'm working on that, there is this gradual transition from light to dark. So why not get it while it's still wet, so we can get the effect wet and wet. So let's do that. I'm going to use almost a pure red, maybe a bit of blue in there. And look at what I'm doing. I'm just getting this beautiful wet and wet effect. Now I'm going to need to get some more paint, get it darker, obviously a bit more of that blue, because it is a shadow. And by the way, I'm going to show you in just a moment. Your best friend in this kind of a process is going to be the water sprayer, water spray gun, whatever you want to call it. And I'm using 2 brushes, you see, so I don't have to clean this, return, repeat, continue. This is going to be your best friend because when things start to dry, you just go tss, and you get more movement. Now, I said it's not going to be just yellow, so as I'm moving to these walls, which are a little cooler, I'm actually going to add a bit of purple. I see a little bit of purple there, so let's do that. What this does is it makes the wash more interesting. Okay, so here we go, a bit of purple, and this purple actually goes up here. Now I'm going to leave a highlight right in the middle because it looks good. These white gaps look good between the larger shapes. So we're going to go at it like that. And I'm basically filling in everything that is in hatching, okay, in lines. Now you don't want to switch the color too often because that can make a bit of a messy impression. So I'm actually keeping it the same kind of a gray-purple mix, okay? Now, I don't even know what I'm painting at this stage. This is the thing. You don't know what you're painting. You're painting these kind of abstract shapes, okay? As was mentioned here just a moment ago. Now, a bit of blue. Let's add a bit of blue to the mix. Still a small area, so we can kind of work relatively peacefully. Not worry too much about edges drying on us, stuff like that. I'm going to put here a line to hint at an edge that's a little lighter. Here I do see shadows, so let's use the yellow for that. Should have probably switched the brush, but that's fine, no worries. Still a small shape, okay? And again, trust yourself that something is going to come out of it, because right now I have no idea what's going to come out of it. Look at it, it's just a bunch of shapes, okay? And I can work faster, by the way. I'm working slowly so that I can explain and so that I can have a bit more control. Now look at how light this this white wall is. So it's misleadingly light, so I'm gonna keep it very light here, you see, like that. And we're gonna connect it to this shape. And now we got one big shape, okay? Make no mistake, this is one big shape. Spray some water on it, get it moving. See, it's already interesting. Now I do feel like this is as dark as I can go here. So I don't want to go any darker than that. I'll make sure not to. This wall is pretty warm. So here I go, connecting and going with the warm, touching the cool. I don't mind that at all. It's all going to mix together, okay? Now here I have a nice stop area. Why? Because I can stop here. This is a highlight. So let's use that to our advantage and stop here. And we still have a beautiful unified shape, okay? Now, I'm going to show you a really important trick in just a moment. Not really a trick, but it's just a good way to approach these kinds of things. So, shadow, shadow, shadow. Now, here we have a very dark kind of archway, okay? Now, this could be interpreted as either a white wall or a shadow. I interpret it as a shadow. Here, we're going to do wet and wet again because it's still wet and we can still rework this area. So a bit of everything. Now look at what I'm doing, just a small touch like that. And we get this beautiful detail in. Now you could put windows already here. If you have a thick enough of a mix, just go back to an area you visited where you want the details not to be too prominent and you just put them in. Even here you can still kind of do some of these details. You see, this one has a few windows there. It's almost fully dry, but you can do that. One thing I did forget, this is really important. Let me show you. Blue, because I really have to do this one thing, and that is connect these shadows coming from the windmill-like thing, okay? Now I did take a risk because this area started drying, but I'm fine with that. We're gonna get some backgrounds. I'd rather these two be connected than not, okay? Let's see. Now, we can stop here, so that's good. Let's make this wall a little warmer, a little more orange, okay? And again, your best friend, spray a bit from afar, just to get the paint to stay wet for longer. By the way, if there are any questions, feel free to write them. It will take me some time to get to them because there's no way I can do both these things together. This is a really focus requiring stage. Now, here I do see a bunch of shadows, highlights all over the place. So let's make a few connections here. Let's leave this as a highlight. I do remember leaving it as a highlight earlier. Just dropped one of my brushes. Don't react. Don't worry. Just keep painting. Let's see here. The only thing I'm going to really react to is only if the delivery is going to be here, then I'll have to take a break. My apologies. Okay, now here I don't have much clarity. I'm just going to put in some warmth. See how it starts taking shape? It's not perfect, but it does start to look like something. I'm leaving highlights here and there. It's very important to leave those highlights. There is a nice shadow that cuts through here, like that. Now, as we're moving down, I'm considering making it a little cooler. Let's do that. Let's do that. I didn't plan on necessarily making that section cooler, but let's go with it. Let's go with a pure blue, because it's going to contrast very nicely with the rest. And it's the peripheries of the painting, so we can kind of do, you see, let it kind of flow wherever it wants. Let's see, just making sure I'm not losing track of where I am. Well, okay, there's a bunch of stuff here. We have this kind of a shadow coming from there. This I can stop because remember, the shadow stops there. Let's see the comments if there's anything interesting. Okay, nice. So I see people are into it. You're getting what I'm doing. That's good. Zigzag shaped kind of a light and shadow. I'm gonna cut this corner down because that's what will often happen. And I'm gonna do this random line here. You see? Just through that, maybe something is casting a shadow there. Now this is important because I'm going to connect all of these shadows down. I'm going to choose a bit more purple here. This is a shadow, and it goes all the way to the left here. So I'm going to fill that area up, going to drop a line there. Again, I'm working a little slower than I would if I just paint this myself, because I do want to talk about some of the process, but generally speaking, yes, I would work much faster. Okay, now we have this beautiful, beautiful structure here that we can connect to this section. So let me spray some water like this. Now, if you'll notice, this kind of a dome-like thing starts cool. So let's get a bit of blue in the house, and also dark. So it starts cool and dark. So let's do that. And then, as we move down, let's transition to a bit of a warmer color. Now, is this going against what I said about keeping the warms and cools and all that? Not necessarily. That's me improvising within the framework I created. Okay, that's perfectly fine. It's something you'll have to do almost in every painting. Let's keep a small highlight there. I like that kind of a thing. Now, there is a diagonal shadow coming over this kind of a wall right here that I'm going to have to indicate, and it almost connects to the previous shape, but it doesn't. It doesn't connect there, and it goes here like that. I'm going to leave this thin highlight. Okay, so here's a trick. Flip it so that you have an easier angle, and do it. Now, when I'm painting just for myself, I'm doing this constantly. I'm rotating the paper, I'm really working the directions to my advantage. But when you're demoing, two things. One, I don't always think about doing all of these things. And two, sometimes it can hurt the viewer's orientation. So I don't do it as much. And it does hurt the result in a way. So just to let you know that there are quite a lot of differences and things you can do a little better if you're honestly just working for yourself, by yourself, and definitely take advantage of all of these ways. Now I'm gonna decide to darken this now. I don't want to carry this over to the next wash, so let's do that. Let's darken this wall. Why? Because I want this to be a little blurry and soft edged. Okay, if I wait for it to dry, then do it, and we're gonna have a bunch of hard edges everywhere, and I don't want that. And you see how we're slowly but surely making our way towards victory. Okay, now what about this area on the bottom? I don't need this strong of a highlight so low in the painting, so what I'm gonna do is transition into this kind of a small white highlight, and then for the bottom I'm gonna go with this kind of a gray color. Let's see where that takes us, okay, because there are a bunch of shapes here. So I do see this shape of shadow, this shape of shadow, and all of that kind of here. Now notice how muted it got down here, and that's good because it's going to convey that sense of again, saturation, strength, warmth, where in the yellow areas, and then coolness here. Now notice how we went the other way around in a way. I'm gonna use this opportunity for a quick break from the wash. Let's just do, no, that's fine. We'll stop here because I do want to explain a few things. Now, if you look at the light and shadow, the light actually comes from the left, kind of front, and it casts, you see these shadows? They are cast by light coming from here. We went kind of the other way around of using warm on the right and hopefully slightly cooler on the left. And that's fine. That shows you can edit the light and shadow in pretty much whatever way you want, and it can still work and look nice. Now, one more note. Right now, we have this one even kind of wash with a few dark sections. Our job in the next wash, once we're done with all of this section, is to add the darker values, the slightly darker values that will make a better differentiation between this side and that side. It will create a healthier understanding of the light and shadow here. I hope that makes sense, okay? Let's see what you're asking in the chat, and then I'll continue with this left section. We are going to focus on the process mainly today, so maybe less time for the questions, but I do want to look at something, okay? Let's see. Distressed by the clean palette, that's funny. Okay, let's see. Ooh, there's a bunch of messages here. Okay, Azamin I says, "Hey Liron, I read in one of your Insta posts that your grandparents are Iraqi, but you live in Israel. So can you please explain this link? Very curious." Yeah, so most of the people in Israel are descendants of people who weren't, not most, but a lot of people, my age group especially, are descendants of people whose parents came from a different country because we're a relatively young country. So my dad was born in Romania. What will usually happen is either the parent or the grandparent will be from a different country. So in my mom's side, in that case, my grandparents were born in Iraq. My mom was born in Israel. My dad's side, he was actually born in Romania and came here when he was 12. I hope that makes sense. There's basically Jewish people all over the world, and also in Iraq. My grandparents always used to tell me stories from Iraq and how they were really enjoying their life there. They had a lot of friends, not only Jewish people, like from all walks of life. So it's really interesting stories to hear. There are always the more specific stories of how people got to Israel. I don't even know if I can, if I know the entirety of the story, so to speak. There are a lot of things that I don't know about, so I don't know. In any case, that's that. Nice. Okay, thanks. ZS says, if you work 10,000 hours on something, you can master it. Do you believe that? I do think that the more you practice, you will get better. I think that talent is massively overrated. Again, if I look at the works I produced before I started to become serious, they weren't professional at all. So it's not like some people have a gift and they're good enough to become competent in the market. I don't think that. I really think that it only saves you just a few 100 hours, so to speak. I had a 4 or 300 hours, maybe 400 hours on someone else, but this gap of talent gets erased very fast, in my opinion. Experience looking at other people, looking at my own art. So that's that. I do believe that. It's a pleasure to see you live. Thank you, Maria. Liesel van Daventer. Hi, Liron. I'm back. I find your demo was very helpful. Thank you, Melody Singer. Oh, that's going to be hard. Two sacas directed something about cleaning the brush. Sorry about that. Something about being careful. Cuidado de no contaminar con otro color. I don't care about that. No importante. I can mix up whatever colors I want and contaminate all the wells. As soon as you dig up a bit of it, it gets clean. So hopefully I understood most of it. Who is your favorite painting you ever done? I have no idea. I have no idea. I have so many. I'll think about it. Winston Lloyd says I'm distressed by the clean palette. Yes, sorry about that. Jamly, are you doing the darkest shapes first? No. It's kind of the mid value. I'm gonna do the darkest in a moment. Lisa Bertram, fantastic to see you live. Love you. Thank you so much, Lisa. Lisa, oh, Lice, sorry. Lisa, how do you pronounce it? Let me know. Nicola Harris, who was your inspiration when you started painting? Joseph Zbukovic, Alvaro Castanet. But I've since moved away from these inspirations and went in a very general direction of consuming a lot of art and then taking a break and working on my own style and then returning to other people's art. It's kind of an ongoing process. Sayak Meiti sends the YouTube logo. Thank you for that. Winston Lloyd, I stopped cleaning my palette because of a Liron vid. Very liberating. So happy to hear. Jamli, great wet and wet trick for Dome Shadow. So thank you. Sanidia Sharma, this live stream is really helpful. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm really happy. I'm really happy I can help. Nicholas Lakovids, hi. Jamli, love the color shift in that abstract shape. Yes, that's really a fun part of just working at it like abstract shapes. Hi Liron, did you mix the purple from the red and blue you are using? If not, what purple did you use? I did not mix it from the ones I'm using. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I used the 7th from the bottom, which is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Violet. It's just violet. It's called violet. It's pigment. I think it's PV19. Yep, it's PV19, like the usual Quinacridone Rose kind of a color. I do find that some colors I know will work in the harmony very well, so I don't have to mix them from other colors. Some colors are just that. They're very easy to use. They're very friendly towards different types of mixes. So I had no problem using it straight out of the pen without mixing from my primary colors, as I usually do, as you may know. Nicola Harris, who was your inspiration? So many things, so many artists, musicians, illustrators. I have a bunch of inspirations. Chris N, did you spread everywhere or just where you have already painted? Well, I'm spraying in a general direction, kind of like this from afar. It's okay if it touches the edges of what I painted and helps it move a bit, that's fine. It doesn't happen. Usually what will happen is the parts you already painted will get wet. Some of the area around it may get wet, but it's not a problem really. Barb White, love that you make changes such as darkening the lower right corner. I often get stuck in rendering every detail. That's right. Start with the major shapes, like the primary shapes, which is this, then secondary, which are the shadows and all of the details. You can do them later. Now, another quick kind of remark. Doing this kind of wet and wet really helps to bring some movement into this area, because again, if you work if I'm gonna just do everything kind of light and then come back with another wash and do the darks, that's good, but I'm gonna have a lot of hard edges. If I can get just this and that kind of a thing here and there, it's gonna contrast really nicely with the shapes I'm gonna put later on wet on dry. Okay, because I did wet and wet, I got this beautiful gradation, but then when I'm gonna put wet on dry, it's gonna have a sharp contrast here that will contrast beautifully with this shape. Okay, hope that makes sense. Qué linda combinación de colores. Thank you, Melody Singer. Thank you so much. Hello from Thailand. Donna says, so amazing already. Thank you. Natalie Kelly, what is the brand and size of your second brush you're using, please? So second one was this one, I think. Escoda Barocco 16. And I also use this one a lot, Escoda Perla 8. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna close the window, it's getting cold. Yeah, here we go. And Ruth is nowhere to be found. She never likes to sit here when I live stream. Unfortunately, she's in the bedroom sleeping. She's really scared of the rain. She doesn't like the rain, so she'll usually be next to me when it's raining. I don't know why now. She just doesn't like when I talk to the camera. So, okay. The hardest part for me is deciding which detail to delete. Yeah, if you can look at it just in terms of big shapes, medium shapes, and start with the big shapes. Like for example, this background wash is the biggest unified shape I could find, so I started with that. Then I'm working my way with the largest ones. Then I'll add some details, and the details are going to be very easy. Paris D. Black says, oh, late again. No worries, we didn't get to do much. Could you do a tutorial on foreshortening of arms and legs? God, that's tough. I'll try. That's really hard. I definitely have work to do in that regard. Oliver, why did you leave the building white in the first wash when you did the background? Because if I want to connect this to the buildings, I have a lot more to think of. It's going to be really challenging. So what I would rather do is split it into the background so that I can fully focus on getting this beautiful smooth transition and then work on this. Okay, I hope that makes sense. It's just splitting the efforts so that it's a little easier to work. Paris D. Black, celebrating Thanksgiving in the US. Yes, indeed, we wished people a happy Thanksgiving. By the way, 150 people. Thank you so much for being here. And if you haven't smashed the like button, please do. It will help me get to more people. So thank you so much. And I do know people discover the channel from these live streams, so that's really cool. Let's do this here. Now we're just talking, so I'm going to see what else I have here on my trusty iPad. Thanks for answering, mate. Got it. Again, love your tutorials. Thank you so much. Lola NP36, you're amazing. I want to jump into this picture and have a vacation. It is Thanksgiving here, and I'm thankful for being able to learn from you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, and I'm happy that I can teach. Do wet in wet technique leads to fresh painting. Yes, I think a good combination of wet and wet, like soft edges and then hard edges, can really help. Sorry, I joined late. Did you use some kind of a perspective to sketch that pic? I actually sketched it beforehand, but no, almost no perspective, just looking at the shapes. Because it's from afar, the perspective isn't as important. You could honestly go into every little detail in the perspective. It's not necessary when you're looking at it from afar. I'll explain it this way. What's the big idea here? A city and the ocean at the back. The big idea here isn't the tapering of something getting farther from us. It's more about the contrast between this area, sorry, you can't see anything, this area and this area. And as long as I can convey that, I don't need this area to be fully accurate in terms of perspective. It helps. I subconsciously draw things probably a little more accurately, but it's not a must at all. Percy Black, Santorini, where Yanni is from. I'm not sure who Yanni is. You should what to paint. How do you become a professional painter? A bunch of questions. I'm going to try addressing them as I continue. What's your favorite to drink during painting? Just water. I drink just water. Sometimes we make iced tea, but now it's winter, so not as much. With some honey. How did you become a professional painter, and how do you choose what to paint? What to paint? I just paint what I enjoy, honestly, Natalie. Professional painter, just a lot of time and hard work. You start by painting, improving, working on your skills, putting yourself out there, getting to build the audience, reach more people. That's the only way, really. It's just slow process. Landon Weeb says dump, so okay. Ucha Morwood says, I Liron, love your tutorials. John, another great live session. We'll have to go now. John, you got the best part, I think. The next, it's all downhill from here. Just kidding. But it's all really just straightforward from here, you'll see. When you watch the replay, nice listening, speaking English. Hola, Jennifer says. Ruth thinks you're talking to a ghost. Yeah, probably. Oliver, got it. Thanks for the explanation. Hello, Liron from Nashville, Tennessee, USA. Sally May says. Emerson Ainsworth, I discovered this channel through this live stream and I gave a like. Thank you so much. I have to go because of my art lessons. Bye. Good. Discipline. Go do the art lessons. Come back later for the replay. Maggie McKevin, do you create your palette from the tube paint or use... This in particular came that way, but I very often use tube paint, refill. Most of my paintings were done like from a tube, refilling, letting it dry, using that. Okay, let's continue. Let us continue so that you can make some serious dent here on the left section. Now I have to warm up again, so literally warm up and also figuratively. So I do see a little bit of warmth in this kind of a tower thing. So I'm going to do that. Now the paint is dry a bit, so just spray a bit of water on everything, all the wells, and it will help it reawaken more easily. So here we go, a bit of that blue here. A little bit more red. I do want it to be a little cooler, so a little more purple maybe, and I think we can do it. So now for this one I will try and remember to, and I need more water, to blend the edge because it is a rounded structure and I didn't do it the last time. So there's going to be a shadow coming through here, and then I'm going to blend the edge like that. Here we go. Okay, good. That's good enough, I think. Let's do one more like that. Here we go. Perfect. Now it's going to be some smaller details. You're not going to see everything as well. And I'm going to start just kind of winging it, to be honest with you, because it's so much in the background that honestly you see less details. So here we go. Kind of winging it. I'm going to put in, let's see here. This is going to be a nice shadow. I'm thinking what I can actually improvise here, make it a little more interesting. Let's keep a gap and then a bump like this above this building, and then kind of finish it here. Good. Now I'm gonna do this kind of a thing here. I don't even know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna do that. So you see me kind of improvising live. Okay, that's good. Let's do this kind of a line here, just completely winging it. Let's see, what else? So, you know what I'm gonna do? While I'm here, I'm gonna connect it to this shape that should have been a little darker. Or you know what? No, I like that shape. I'm gonna keep it. I wanted to do this one a little darker, but no, I'm gonna keep it because I like it. Okay, so going around this structure here. Honestly, you don't see much, so it's just going to be a bunch of mumbo jumbo. Highlight there, shadow here. As long as, like, we have a lot of things going on here, so as long as we can kind of have this as a supporting, have this mess support this slightly less of a mess, we'll be okay. That's the point. That's what I was getting at. So we have this beautiful shape here. Goes down like that. There is a ledge here. And then there's another shadow that I'm going to make a little cooler. So kind of like this. Here we go. Perfect. Go like that. And around this other structure. And this is very important because we have to leave a highlight here over the side of this wall and around that. In fact, this entire thing is also in the shadow. It's kind of, there are steps here, so you get this. Let's do this kind of thing. Let's do this. Look at these steps I'm just making up on the spot. Now it doesn't make sense that this wall isn't in the shadow, so let's put that in the shadow. But you see how you can kind of improvise and wing it and invent shapes, and if you get lucky it will work sometimes. Let's do this in the shadow as well, and it casts a diagonal shadow here, so I'm kind of working from bottom to top in a strange kind of manner. This entire thing, what am I to do with this? Let's, nothing faces away from that, so let's do this. Let's do another diagonal here. Good. You see, honestly, I don't see anything here, so I'm just kind of like, you can't even tell what you're looking at. So it's just going to be a big mess, and that's fine. I'm going to live with that. Sometimes I have no idea what I'm looking at. And again, if I would draw everything literally, step by step, I may be able to tell everything that goes on here. But that's not the kind of painting I was looking forward to doing. So that's that. Let's do for fun. Let's turn this into a wall, like an actual castle-like wall. See this? What do you call this thing? I'm not sure. But here we go. Kind of making this area tower fortress-like. That's going to be fun. Now, I'm going to go for a bit of a bluer area there at the bottom. Thank you so much for the nice comments. I do see a lot of people writing that they're enjoying it. Much, much appreciated. And here, honestly, we can go with just a kind of a darker thing. Like that. And you can imagine. Okay, let's do this. This is going to be fun. Let's get a bit of yellow in here. Do this. A bit of yellow. And then let's get some color and blend the top edge like so. See? And that's going to make it feel, again, rounded. And pretty much going to end here. What else do I want here? Let's put a few details while we're at it. So this has to lead to somewhere. What should I do with this area? I know what I'll do. I'm going to drop a vertical line here. Kind of like an additional tower in a way. I don't know what that is, but that's fine. Drop a shadow there. I'm literally making stuff up now. Now this isn't easy. Don't expect to be able to do this, and don't expect my version of it to look good. It's just a big mess, but it's just another way of improvising that you learn to do with time. If you get lucky, it looks good. If you don't, it doesn't look good. Like this, I shouldn't have done that. So let's put this entire thing in the shadow. It's too late. Let's get a little bit of a shadow going on here diagonally. Same goes for this section, like that. Let's do this kind of a thing here. And I think we're good. I think this is pretty much it for a nice kind of first wash. Now, one thing I am missing is I do want this section to be a little darker, so let's do that. Like this. And I want to get some areas here darker as well. See? In this shadow, like that. Maybe a couple of wet in wet windows or something like that. Maybe there's a kind of an edge here. And the most important thing really is when you look at it as a whole. Does it look good? Does it read well? Does it read like something? Maybe your answer to these questions is no for this one. But I do see it's nice. Drop of water. Danger zone. Get rid of it. There we go. Because if it's going to stay too long, it's going to reawaken the paint, lift it back up. Okay. So here's what we're going to do now. One thing I forgot, by the way, sorry. I need to darken the rooftop of that second windmill-like structure. It's quite dark. So I forgot about it. And then I told myself, oh, I'll do it later. And I forgot. So here we go. And the left side is actually not as dark. And it's warmer. Okay, good. So this goes like that. Hopefully that makes sense. And there are some shadows coming out from this thing that I'm gonna add in just a moment. The actual. Did Ruth come here? I heard a noise. I heard Ruth. There we go. So I think something like that. I'm gonna add these details in just a few moments. So here's what we're gonna do. We'll let it dry. We'll dry it with some with the hair dryer. And then the next stage is to just start bringing out the deeper shadows. When you look at a reference photo, there are some areas where deeper shadows are concentrated. Now, the beautiful part about this step is that you can really be a little more relaxed, okay? You know that you're working on not all this huge shape that you still can't see, but rather just this shape, okay? You do have to take care of some nuances within the shapes, but it's generally speaking much easier. You could also approach this from a view of just starting top to bottom and adding the details and shadows, which I think is what we're going to do. We'll start from top to bottom, we'll add the shadows, details, and all of that. And we'll see how it goes, you know? I like it. Let me look at it from afar. It looks nice. It looks nice. Obviously, the more time you take with the drawing stage, the more time you take with the painting stage, you will be able to go down in the resolution. Now, I do want to show you two things. One is, again, this wet and wet we did earlier is going to play a massive role in standing out and making this look like flowy, beautiful watercolor. Second, this thing here is golden. This is just what I wanted to achieve here. This transition from blue to yellow is really important. That's how you bring the viewer's attention somewhere, by doing these beautiful contrasts. And it's true that everything has it here, like yellow, then purple, then orange, then blue, but this is a very good potential for a strong focal point. And if you have one of these or two of these, you're golden. And the entire painting is going to be kind of sucked into this focal point, maybe somewhere around here, depending on, you know, or the ocean. Everyone's obviously a little different in that regard. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to put on another layer. It's getting colder. And I sometimes forget you can still hear me without the headphones, so I stop talking even though I can. So here we go. Now let's see what are some of the questions we get, and then we'll continue. So it seems like people enjoy seeing the process. So thank you for that. Cool colors. Paper I'm using is Arch 300 gram cold press. Looking good already. Thank you, Krishnan, my friend. Alison Conway, it looks very good, Liron. I would be happy with this. Still struggle knowing when to leave details out, but getting better very slowly. Woody. We have Ruth in the house. Let me show you. Wait a second. There she is. Let me give her a pet. Good doggo. Her breath stinks a lot. Okay. So Ruth is with us. She peed inside the house. I guess because of the cold, she's having a harder time holding it in, and we are taking her on more walks. I'm going to take her on a walk as soon as I'm finished with this one. So I don't know. I think she's feeling well. But I hope you enjoyed seeing her. Good. Love the suggestion of the steps and the castle wall. There she goes. Looks already amazing. Thank you. Cool color. Which paper are you using? I answered that. Looking good. Alison looks very good. Leave detail. Oh yeah, I just wanted to say regarding details. Now, when you come to this point of the painting, you have like most of the main shapes in. You're at the best point you can be. Why? Because now you can work slowly and add more and more and more details in patiently. So here's what I would suggest if you're having a hard time knowing how many details to add, when to stop, etc. Do this as an experiment. Decide, okay, what's the most obvious thing I'm seeing here? I do see that these two walls are different because one's in the light, one's in the shadow. So I'm obviously going to need to darken this one. So let's do that. Darken the wall, do whatever you need, merge it with this shadow, whatever it takes, and then just stop and let the painting go. Maybe like finish your painting for today, finish your day, go to sleep, drink hot cocoa, wake up the next day, and look at it then. And figure out, do I need to add something else to it? And you'll think to yourself, well, obviously I didn't do anything. Oh, here's one thing I want to add. Add that. And then feel free to stop again or continue. What happens is when you take a break and you come back, visit the painting, you come back with a fresh eyes, and you better know what to add. You'll see things that are missing. That's how it's going to happen. Something is going to be very much lacking. You'll be like, oh, where is this shadow? And then you'll add it. And remember, you're at an advantageous point at this stage because right now you haven't finished the painting and you can continue adding slowly but surely more and more details. That's what it's all about, really. So you can do that slowly. That's what I'm trying to say. And I'm trying to see if I went too dark, a little too dark on this one. but that's fine. So I hope that helps. What are the dimensions of the page? I can actually measure it for you. Where are my rulers? Where are my rulers? I never know where my rulers are. Where did I put them? It's something like... Now it's gonna bug me. Like they were literally here a second ago. But in any case, that's like, this is going to be about 28 centimeters, and this is going to be about 14, I think, something like that. I think, yeah, maybe 16, 28, maybe something like that, I think. It's not too big. Like, look at my hand for comparison. I can find the rulers. Just a second. I'll just search for them. Okay, yeah, they went a little far on the other side of the room, but now we can measure for reals. So the actual paper is 28.5 centimeters by 19 centimeters. So I was close. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Let's see what else. Hi, Ruth. Whew. How many hours would you take to paint this if you're not making a live? Probably double the time by 1.5. So if this took an hour, it would have been an hour and a half, and there is a lot of nuances that can be expressed in this extra half an hour. Maybe double the time, maybe 2 hours, maybe depending on how much detail I want to put in there. But yeah, that's a good question, a good distinction. It would have taken me longer. That's good that you thought about it. To the description for paper used. Yeah, sometimes my materials in the description aren't that up to date. Sorry about that. Dimensions, thank you so much. We'll watch this later. Gotta put the turkey in the oven. Yes, happy Thanksgiving. Okay, but only for 5 minutes. I have to watch it full. Okay, so what we're gonna do, Natalie Kelly, that's actually close to A4 size, yes. So let's get to it. I see, a lot of people have things to do, prepare for Thanksgiving. Let's just get this one done. Then we can talk a bit and wrap it up. And maybe we'll get it done before anyone rings the bell, knocks the door, whatever, to bring me my stuff. It's Pokemon cards, if anyone suspected. That's what I'm gonna get. So, first, very obvious shadow shape is this wall on the right. I'm gonna just go for it. Here we go. Now, you have to be a little faster when you're working on the second layer, because it tends to dry faster, especially, and you're also using slightly less wet of paint, and that can very often mean that you're getting uneven edges, or things dry unevenly. It's something you want to pay attention to. So here I am connecting it to the cast shadow on the wall as well, so that I don't get a hard edge there. That's one. Now I do see another strong shadow right down here. So I'm going to put that one in, like so. See? Around here where there are some more steps, by the way. So here we go. This may be a little too dark, but that's fine. And it'll probably dry a little lighter. So you see here, steps. And they're contrasting very nicely with this shape. Honestly, not much is going to be needed here. I'm just going to put in a few details and we'll be done. Now, by the way, you can use the spray. Just go like this. And now you will get softer edges. You see, that's another trick for you. I have talked about it before, and I know quite a lot of people use that, but I just wanted to show you. You will get softer edges. I'm not going to go over this because I want to preserve that soft edge, very important. What else? So this dome should be darker. I said I'd start top to bottom. I haven't. So here we go. Not very disciplined of me, but in any case, dome. And real fast, dry the brush. Come back with a damp brush, get that kind of gradual transition from dark to light, because it is a dome after all. Get that high contrast point here up top, casting this shadow down there. We have this flag here or something like that, so let's get that in here. Maybe we have a few windows here that I made up. This entire left side of the structure wasn't really there in the original, as you can see. Window, let's put in, maybe with a smaller brush, let's use Tracy's beautiful brush here. For the smaller details, I always use that. Also for my when I do inking, quote unquote inking for illustrations, I use this one. This is the small soft white synthetic. I believe that's 525, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna link down below Tracy's website. He makes beautiful, beautiful brushes. I do plan on doing like process fully with them and to really show you their capabilities. I will say one thing about these brushes, because they're a bamboo grip, it really helps keeping your hands and muscles and everything feeling well and loose and tight, because it's asymmetrical. You're not holding the same thing all the time, so it really helps avoiding fatigue from working with the brushes. So that's a pretty huge thing actually. So I love these brushes. Use them all the time, especially for inking. And I should definitely do like a proper video on them. Like I have a coupon code and everything. If you just use Liron on Tracy's website, you'll get a 20% discount. I need to talk about them more. I did promise Tracy I will make soon a live fully using them live stream, and then you'll see their full capabilities. But definitely check these out if you're looking for new brushes. Now I do see some details. Well, not here really. It's gonna be fine. It's kind of a window, but I wanted to put them up top here. Just create some more variety in the edges. Let's see what else. We have this beautiful dome-like door here and there, and a bunch of windows, especially in the shadows. You see how it just starts taking up a bit of shape here? Now, I'm gonna do something I wasn't planning on doing. I'm gonna darken slightly this behind. Why? Because I want this really to pop, this wall on the right. So here we go. Wasn't planning on doing it, but there we go. Now, this little bit of detail there, add a shadow, because all of this is in the shadow, and you can even add a gentle cast shadow. Go like this if you want to smear it around, go like that if you want to help it spread out a bit. That's fine. Very important window here and here. Some windows on this one, like that. So you see it starts some things start to happen here. It doesn't really matter what, but something like here. I'm gonna add a couple of windows to this wall. I'm gonna keep this wall as light as it is right now. I don't want to darken it. I actually like what it looks like. There is a bit of shadow here. Let's do this. I'm gonna spray some water, and then we're gonna add, because this area does feel like it needs to be a little darker. Let's see here. Squinting my eyes just to figure out, so I think, yeah, this should be darker. And with the cast shadow diagonally, feels like it lacked a bit of framing there, and I really wanted to show the frame. And a bunch of windows here in the foreground. Let's see here. I'm gonna modify these windows a bit. Have one on the tower here, have one on this broken-like structure. Maybe add the stairs in the shadow as well. Just a few, like 1, 2, 3. Make this shape a little better. At this stage, I'm just using whatever paint I have on the brush. I don't even need to, do anything in particular. Let's see, here we definitely have a few windows. Here we have a few details as well. This window here. And yes, it's very impressionistic what I'm doing right now. I'm not adding a lot. You have to understand, I'm not doing like careful detailed work here. I'm just doing the minimum to give it some solidity and structure, okay? A couple of windows here. Let me get rid of some paint. I find that this stage is really sometimes hard to explain, so sorry if my explanation is a little lackluster. I'm kind of like, do this here, do this there, so sorry about that. Just kind of winging it really most of the time. Let's see. I'm gonna add this kind of a, let's do this. Just to make a little more sense of this structure. Kind of finding the middle ground between this shadow which was previously there and a bunch of other shapes. Let's darken this side of the building, that side, add a bunch of windows here. I'm starting to feel honestly like this is getting close to the point where I'm like, I'm done. It's cool. It's a nice painting. It's a decent painting. Nothing too crazy. Made a lot of mistakes. Could have done a lot of things differently, but I'm very happy with it still. Now I can add a few like antennas or something like this. It can help tie in this with the background. If you want to, you don't have to. It really shows that these are rooftops, as you can see here. Maybe add these cast shadows. Let me look at it. This needs a window for sure. This one too. This wall, I don't really like how it turned out as much as I thought I would, but that's fine. But you see, it just starts to take some structure and look maybe like something. I'm really contemplating whether I should put like a rich, beautiful orange here, warm orange or red. Let's do it. It may be a mistake. It's a pretty prominent shape, which usually I'd rather not change at this stage, but it's better to try and then say, oh, I shouldn't have, rather than asking yourself if you should have, and then wonder, and then think about it all the time. So here we go. I'll make it a strong red to really bring out that beauty of this wall. That's nice. That works. I think that works nicely. Gives it a bit of warmth. I'm going to add some yellow to that, maybe up top. A lot of it is subjective. Should I have done that? Should I have not? I don't know. Who gets to decide? I guess it looks nice, so I'm actually happy I did it. I think we're actually close to finishing. Let's see. What I'm going to do is dry it with my hairdryer. This break will help me see maybe things I missed and so on. If we need to add something more, I will add. If not, I'll remove the tape and we'll look at the final result. I'm going to read your comments as I dry this. I'm going to mute myself. Let's see what you're writing. Okay, so I think we did a good job. Natalie says good decision on the red-orange wall. I'm really happy to hear. Thank you for that. I see a bunch of people like Canon Cool says, oh my god, I discovered you right now and I freak out. Well, thank you so much for joining. Kartik Dara says, I'm also an artist. I made sketches. My YouTube channel name, Kartik Dara Art. Go look it up if you want to join, if you're looking for new art channels. Dipendras Shah says, nice. Adim Marzer says, hello, how are you? Just wanted to say you make amazing videos and put so much effort into each. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Voita came here from school as it's finished now, and wow, you really did a good job with this one. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Where are you, bro? I'm in Israel. I'm in Tel Aviv. Natalie Kelly, good decision on the red orange. Thank you. Fantastic and funny as always, Liron. Such a joy. Thank you so much. Kit Kito says the painting is so lovely. Thank you. Liesel van Deventer. Love that, Liron. Thank you so much. So here's one thing that bugs me a bit. When I look at it from afar, it feels like there are a couple of lines that are way too continuous. Like this thing here. How does this long of a highlight survive? So especially here, like think about it this way. If this is a wall, when it turns down, it should have a bit more shadow there. So I'm going to break that off. Nothing too prominent else that I'm seeing that I want to change. I'm actually quite happy with it. So let's do that. Let's just make this small change very simple, very easy. Just grabbing a bit of what I have left here on the palette. I don't need any special colors, but I just want to break off some of these shapes, you see? Kind of like that. Anything that's not facing up, maybe just break it off using some random made-up detail. That's much better in my opinion. So this is pretty much it. Let me sign this one for you. and then we'll remove the tape and look at the final result, and hopefully we like it. And yeah, just another painting, another day. Most of my paintings are like that. I really like them. I see a bunch of things I can improve, but I also see a lot of good sections that work well. And this is what you want. Just keep improving from one to another, and that's perfectly fine. A lot of the quality will amount to how much you focus during the process and how much you have like clearness of mind. It will surprise you just how good of results you can produce just purely by being more focused on the process, because that's something that's in your control. It's within your control to do that, which is why it's so important. I think you can actually make better art instantaneously just by doing that. So the almighty tape removal. Let's make the reference a little smaller. Come on, I exaggerated here. And we'll get started. What corner should I pick? Let's start with the bottom, because that's actually the one that's most up top. Let's see here. Now the tape, this isn't the best tape, it's an okay tape. So we may have some paint leaks, but hopefully, see, now this side was protected relatively well. Now let's do this side 2 out of 4. Very nice. Wow, that's actually good protection. Now 3 out of 4. Very nice. A few leaks here and there, nothing too terrible. This corner, but that's fine. You're going to put something like a mini frame around it, like a white frame, passepartout. And the last one. And we're done. We are done. I really hope you enjoyed this one. I hope it makes sense. It was a fun process, honestly. I don't know. I don't have much to say about this one. When I look at it tomorrow, I will see it in better light, and I'll be like, oh, okay, I see this, I see that. One thing I did not expect to love, and I really love, is the contrast between the ocean here and the warmth of this wall. So that worked out really nicely. Remember how I said, I see some warmth here, let's put some warmth, and it actually ended up working because of its contrast with the sea. Now here's what I'm going to do. Two things. One, I'm going to grab this and I'm going to show it to you from afar, so you'll get an even better impression of what it looks like in a more impressionistic way. So here we go. Going back, going back. If this looks good, goal achieved. Okay, this is really it. All I need is for it to look good from afar. Not much more than that. One thing I will kind of fix, I remember now, because I darkened this wall slightly, I'm going to darken this small section here as well. Now, if you want to make corrections now, you can actually do that. Even for the large washes, you can just retape it. Let me show you. I didn't even show you. Okay, so what I did was darken this corner a bit more. You can actually make changes, but by retaping. I really like it, so I won't make any changes. Now, what else did I want to show you? I wanted to show you something else. Okay, I'll remember in a second. Oh, yeah. I want to take a picture and show you what it looks like real colors, better quality. So let me do that. I'm going to move this aside. Sorry, I'm going to move the camera probably a bit. I'm going to bump it. Because it's such a dark and gloomy day, you don't actually see it that well. So let me airdrop this to the computer. Okay, I do want to show you like a picture, like a good quality picture of what it looks like, the end result. And let's switch to my face here. Let me show you my face a bit. This was good, an hour and a half, and we're finished with pretty much all of the process, so that's good. Let me import the picture. Here I am, being a little slow. Bit of dead air, that's fine. Okay, yes, bring a picture, browse, find it in the downloads folder. I do want you to see the finished high quality, better quality pic. Okay, so obviously it imported it huge size. I have to find out how to fix that. Let's see here. Here we go. Okay, just a bit of a better view. Honestly, it's not even that reflective of what it looks like. Let me try something here. Let me bring it over to Photoshop. Let's play around with it a bit. Image adjustment. Let's first do this. Okay, I just want to show you what I think looks close to real life with this painting. Image adjustments, hue saturation. Okay, okay, now we got it. Now we got it. I think it's gonna update on the screen. Let's see. It should update immediately, but I'm not sure. Okay, I'll have to probably re-import it. Let's see here. Discard, discard. Okay, yeah, got it. I think I got it now. Oh man, I'm bad at this. Sorry, I just really want you to see the colors properly. Sorry about that. Again. Okay. Browse. I know what I'm gonna do. I need to rename it. Dead air. Heavy dead air here. And make it smaller. And now you'll get to see the colors a little better. I just increased the saturation a bit because whenever I take a picture, it always ruins the colors. I don't know why, but there we go. I hope that gives you a better view of what this one actually looks like. You don't need to see my face. So yeah, you can now see the mistakes even better. You can see a lot of things better. I had a great time making this one. Let me know if you have any questions. I think one of the biggest themes here was, again, how can we convey, let me show you, how can we convey all of these details while maintaining a feeling of togetherness? And a big part of that was this big shape here, this big shape there. You cannot afford sometimes to work like in small sections all the time. And here where I kind of split and did more smaller sections, it works well because it contrasts with some of the larger shapes. The colors are fairly straightforward: yellow ochre, Quinacridone Rose, Prussian blue. These are the three main ones. A bit of that beautiful red that I never remember its name, but I can check for you in just a moment. Let's see, this red is called Scarlet. Yeah, it's Scarlet, and it's pigment red 123. I'm not sure what that is, but it's a really good looking red in my opinion. And yeah, this is pretty much it. It's a fairly straightforward one. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll address them now as we look at the painting in the background. Are you white balancing in Photoshop? I should white balance more. What I usually do is just increase the exposure because I find that the white gets a little darker and saturation, but sometimes if the painting is criminally hurt by the picture and the time of day, I will do some color correction, yes. Usually I'll have to turn it a little cooler because there's warm light here from the inside. It's not natural light. Great question, Winston Lloyd. Senor Frog, hello, I'm a bit late, but the painting looks great. Thank you so much, Senor Frog. It was a surprisingly fast one. I think this would have taken me 2 to 2.5 hours had I done this off camera. And it would have been maybe a little more accurate. Adi Marzer, yes, it turned out amazing. Thank you so much. Daiji Shinomori, this is so lovely. Thank you, Daiji. Thank you, my friend. One thing I've been thinking about is I still have this leap to make of not only getting it to look pretty, but also more realistic. That's something I still haven't fully cracked. Plus, I'm doing a lot more like Pokemon illustrations now, so I do have a lot of the realistic aspect to improve. Kind of rusty in landscapes and cityscapes, but I will be back on track. And in a while, I'll go back to doing more, and then I'll get that. I want to get that last, like, if you look at even people like Tim Wilmot here on YouTube, a great painter, what he does is he gets that fairly realistic impression. So I have some warming up to do, improving to do, as always, but I think this one looks really nice. And I think from afar, it does look a little more realistic than I would expect even. If you compare it to the picture, there are some differences, and remember, watercolor is kind of a one-way street, so I can't really go back and add this lighter yellow here and make the wall a little brighter, like I could with acrylics. I could do it with opaque paint, it's just not really fun. So that's the limitation, you go with it. But again, if this was acrylics, I would go, oh, this should be lighter, I'd make it lighter. Oh, this should be slightly darker, make that darker. This should be lighter, I'd lighten this up. I can, by the way. Let's, you know what, as an experiment, we can try and do that. Let's just for fun, lighten up this wall. So what I'm gonna do is just wet it. I don't know, let's try it out. Let's see what it will look like. I'll wet it, like so. Just putting some water on it. Then I'm gonna dry my brush, and I'm gonna touch it again, like that. You see that? Scrub it a bit, like this. And then if you just grab a piece of toilet paper, tissue, anything like that, you see it just lifts some of the paint back. It made it maybe a little lighter, just to give you an idea. Not significantly, but it did make a difference. So, thank you so much for the kind words. Natalie Kelly, just a question. Why are there windmills in around the buildings? I'm from Australia, so this is not common knowledge for here. Is it to grind up grains to make flour? I have no idea, honestly. I'm in the same boat. I have no idea. Ajoy Sengupta, what will I do? Light to dark, dark to light. I did light to dark. That's what I usually do. But you can work many ways and a combination of both. Sometimes you can go dark to light as well. Is that Cayenne or Cheyenne? What is your pencil inside of? Oh, yeah. Okay, that's a pencil extender right here. I just use it to extend my pencil. So this pencil is this long now. It's too short to use, so I put it in an extender, lock it up by raising this, and I can use it all the way up till the tip gets here. So that's that. It's just to save. Honestly, pencils are super cheap and I could throw it away, but I don't like wasting material. So I'd much rather use it all the way till the end and feel good about it, because there's so much lead here. It's really a shame to throw it away. So that's what I do. Like, let me show you. I think I should have it here. Some of you have seen. Look at how much I worked this one. All the way to the tip till I could no longer use it. Actually, it was on the other end, but yeah, same idea. So this allows me to work with this, because this you can't really use it anymore. So, you know, and I saved it just for, you know, good memories. So yeah, and by the way, I have to say, Cayenne, I like your Snorlax profile pic. John Bennett, what type of wood is your paper mounted to? It's just a normal kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, but it's I got it from the art store. It's very cheap. It costs like $5, the equivalent of $5, maybe $8, just for the board. It's just a flat kind of, what would you call it? Maybe balsa? I don't know. It's just regular. Let's see, but it is art material wood. So if you go to an art store, they should have these types of surfaces. And it's very comfortable because I can just rotate it around. If I tape this to the table, I'm doomed. I can't do anything. It's just stuck to the table. I can change the angle. I can do a lot of things. So this is great not only for plein air, but also painting at home. Jagadish Narayanan. Here in India, watercolor painting selling is difficult. What about in your country? I actually don't sell many. I sell consistently, but not a lot. And what I would say about that is selling is a completely different ball game. You have to really put yourself out there, make the right connections. Start small, start with a lower price point, and slowly work your way up. I should do a video specifically on sales and marketing. I will do something like that. Let's do like a live stream on that sometime. I'm gonna write it down for myself, or else I will forget. Marketing live stream. There are better people than me to address this question, to be honest with you. What I do is use my ability the best I can, and I think that is teaching. So I make my money from teaching mostly, and from the books that is teaching, from the Udemy courses that is teaching, from publishing houses that bought the rights to my books, my own courses on my websites, and then also selling paintings. But I would say that it's more from the other avenues. So I'll think about it. I'll think how I can address it better in a video, in a dedicated video. It's a good question. It really is. I know so many people struggle with that. But it's all about the marketing and the business side of things. You have to know how to do that. Let's see. Oh, I missed a bunch of comments. Sully May, I don't really like the photorealistic watercolors. Might as well get the photo. Yeah, I agree. There is a nice happy medium, you call it, where you can both get it to be fairly realistic and very impressionistic as well. It's a balance. Phyllis Baird, hi from California. I've watched the whole live and love your painting. I like your teaching skills. Thank you. Thank you so much, Phyllis. I really appreciate it. I'm not sure, are you, Phyllis, from the emails as well? Because sometimes it's hard to keep track over the different platforms, but if it is, then I do remember speaking to you, obviously, a few times. Let's remove this. Alison Conway, so I may feel the same. Looks like combined windmills and defense. Interesting. Chris says thank you. Thank you so much, Chris, for watching. Sol Castillo, Liron, where can I send you some of my art? I really need some feedback. Email me at liron@lironian.com. Just go to the channel. You'll find in the contact tab my business email, and you can email me there. James Baker, thank you, Liron. I appreciate so much your generosity in sharing your skills and knowledge with us. Thank you, James. I'm having a good time, really. And thank you for watching, and like, thank you for making it possible, because all the people that watch the videos, that are following, that buy the courses and the books, that's just what makes it possible for me to do full time. And I do plan on, for as long as I can, to always give a lot of free stuff. Like, I never want to become more of a paid avenue ever. I want like 80% of the value at least to be free stuff. So and free tutorials at the highest quality I can. So thank you for that. You make it possible. Tommy said, it's 101, Tommy 101. Nice work, Liron. And pencil extenders rock. Every artist should have a few for sure. I have another one in my drawer, actually. Joyce and Gupta, you're a really great artist because you find a question with your students. Love you from India. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Kimberly Hilton Studio. I love the live stream painting videos. I learned so much this way because the questions our art community asks and you answer. Indeed, yes. I hope to do that. That's just the fastest way for us to communicate, because with messages and comments, it takes a long time, and I do try to be on top of that, but it's just impossible to answer everyone. So that's the perfect way for us to do that. Thank you so much, and happy Thanksgiving from Kentucky, USA. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy. I hope you're celebrating with the families, and that it is possible. I know some places probably will have some limitations. Hopefully not too bad. Harsha Canella. Lost my voice. Harsha Canella, hi. Hi yourself. Jason Gupta. Okay, videos on sales marketing. Yes, please. I will. Okay, I will do one. Ankshu Roy, whenever I make a shadow, it doesn't look like a shadow. What should I do for that? Usually that's a problem with the values. It's either too light or too dark. There are a lot of optical illusions that make it very easy for us to get the values wrong. What I would say is take a picture of your painting, turn it black and white in your phone, in your computer, in iPad, whatever you're using. Look at it that way and compare how dark it is. Usually that's the problem. When something feels out of place, it's because it's usually too light or too dark. Like this wall here feels much better now, to be honest with you. The wall that I turned a little red here feels much better now. Now that it's just a little bit darker. It's not as white as these white areas. So these subtle value changes make a big difference. That's usually the problem. Thanks for noting my questions. Jagadish says, my pleasure. Ekok says, awesome, thank you. Kundan Prayapati. Your artwork is absolutely beautiful. When you answer these questions, it helps me to understand the way of art. Thank you so much. Thank you. And yeah, it's just a window into my my head and how I'm thinking about these things. With time, you develop your own way, and this is why everyone's paintings are very different, and you can tell. So keep doing it. Paint as much as you can. That's like #1 thing I can say. Sanidhya Sharma. This stream was like a good movie. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Cubs win. Have you thought of doing a live critique from artwork sent to you? We can do that someday. That could be fun. Divira Rizkina. And that's a good idea. Thank you for that. I'll write it down. Live critique. As an idea. Live critique. Let's see what else we have here, and then we'll wrap it up. Critique way. Okay, here we go. Divira Rizkina. I like all of your drawing videos, but may I ask, which white gel pen do you recommend? I use the Signo Uniball. I threw it out because I ran out of it, but you can find it in the materials list in the description box. It's a Signo Uniball white gel pen. It's Signo. Signo. How did you learn the techniques? Natalie Kelly asks. Slowly and patiently, just painting a lot, messing up a lot of paintings, correcting my mistakes over and over again, doing the same scenes a couple of times, just a lot of painting and a lot of introspection and looking at the paintings and examining them. That's what I would say. Kelly R. Wilson, always enjoy your videos. Thank you, Kelly. Angshu Roy, how much time do you spend on watercolor on average in a week? I don't know, but about 3 hours a day, I guess. Wayan Min Kant, when will you make the next live? It's going to be next week, probably Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern. Let me see if I have something, because I think I may have something actually. But I will keep you updated for sure. Thursday. We'll see. It should be next Thursday. I believe it will be next Thursday. Same time. Jagadish, what about realistic watercolor and rough watercolor paintings? Why more people like realistic works? I don't know if people like realistic works more, honestly. It really is a matter of taste. I don't even think realistic works are appreciated more by the establishment, so to speak. I think there's a lot of appreciation for more expressive, more inventive types of works. But it's an interesting question. Divra says, thank you. I'm happy to help. Stephen Hanks says, hi. Thank you to anyone who joins now. Sorry, it's almost over, but you will be able to watch the live replay. Natalie Kelly says, thank you for all the advice and beautiful paintings. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate it. Do you master all materials at the same time? Do you mean like pencil, watercolor, and so on? One by one, focus on one, and then the other. That's how I recommend doing it. Takes time to get a good understanding. I'm still in watercolor. I don't do like oils and acrylics at all, almost. So yeah. Michael Fenning, thank you for giving back to the community. You got it. Can you make a video on how to make a water reflection, like how to paint reflections? Yes, I will. I have a few, by the way, and I will do more. With that, I think we can wrap it up. I really want to thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I'm going to take Ruth on a walk. I hope you enjoyed seeing this process. Again, look at it. Look how nice it looks from afar. I think it looks better. I'm really happy that you like it. I really am happy. I know a lot of people have an appreciation for work that isn't just fully realistic, but it is impressionistic. It has a bit of looseness in it. And if anything, I hope seeing my thought process and hearing my thought process helped you. Happy Thanksgiving to anyone celebrating. I wish you all good health. Everyone, not just the people who celebrate Thanksgiving. I'm now going back. Zooming out, wishing you all good health. Stay safe, especially now. Hopefully the COVID stuff is going to be over at some point soon. We can go back outside and travel. And yeah, it's rainy. Rain is nice. I really enjoy the rain. And if you have any unanswered questions, I will look at the chat at the last kind of messages, and I will write it down, and I will make videos on like anything that I can help with. So thank you so much, and now I will stop the stream and continue working. So take care, have an awesome rest of the day, night, week, and I will talk to you again real